Hello everyone. This lecture and the series of other lectures to follow are going to be about hypothesis testing. So before we jump directly into the steps of hypothesis testing, we have to understand a bit of history here. We need to understand how the philosophy of inference has evolved over a period of time. Like way before our hypothesis testing as it exists today, we've had people put forward theories and test them in different ways. And this very idea of testing hypotheses and proving or disproving them has gone through a lot of metamorphosis. So, overall, when we talk about philosophy of inference, we have a hypothesis or we have a causal hypothesis to start with, and then we go about meticulously testing them. Usually, there are multiple iterations, which is to say that there is not just one attempt to test and say that a certain theory is proved or disproved. So, there are multiple iterations, and then finally, we talk about confirming or refuting hypothesis. But this process, as it seems, has gone through many changes. So, one of the early ideas was what is described by Bacon as the empiricist ants. So, just like the ants gather what they have and put it together, the empiricists gather all data and information and put it together to support a given theory. Then we have whom Bacon calls the rationalist spiders. We know that the spiders bring out their own spit and weave a web. So this is very similar to what the rationalists using the inductivism, they bring forward what their ideas are and put together a theory or a logic. And then we have the bees. Now we all know that the bees bring together a certain component from the flowers and then they digest and bring forward a new product, which is honey. So generally philosophers talk about taking in data, digesting it and bringing out a synthesized product. So earlier when we had the inductivist and the deductivist logic, we had a very, very eminent person, a very eminent Austrian philosopher by the name Karl Popper. Now he brought in what you call the theory of falsifiability or the theory of refutationism. So hitherto, while people were talking about confirming a given theory or bringing together data to support a certain theory that you have in hand or putting forward a theory based on what data you are bringing from yourself. So here Karl Popper brought in something called refutationism. So what he says is irrefutability is not a virtue of theory, rather a vice. So for any hypothesis or any assumption, any theory to be scientific, it has to be falsifiable. So you should be able to have scientific methods to be able to falsify this particular theory that we are putting forward. So the most common example that we use to describe Popper's refutationism is that of, the crow. So let me say all crows in your city are black. Now, what would you say? Is proving me easy or disproving me easy? So to prove me, you will have to technically look at all the crows and prove to me that they are black. But to disprove me, all you need to find is one crow that is not black. So he says any theory that you put forward should be by method, by nature, refutable, by proper testing methods. And always falsifying something is easier and is more capable of proving a point than trying to confirm a given theory. Later in our series of lectures, we will see statistically why falsifying a certain theory is easier than accepting or confirming the theory. Now, with that brief prelude, a very interesting read is Popper's own paper on science conjecture and refutationism. It's a very interesting read to give a kickstart to your understanding of hypothesis testing as we today have adapted it for statistical testing. Thank you.